What up, G Life fam? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. And yes, I'm sick. But my heart it never quits, homie. It don't know no quit. So we just grind through it. Um, we just gotta muscle through it. Now, what I wanted to talk about today, I know this video is not gonna be liked by a lot of people, and that's fine. Like I said, I only speak my mind right here. I only do it just because what I want to talk, I want to touch on. I never do it for the views or the likes. I know it'll get disliked, but the truth works in both ways. The truth works when people like agree with what I'm saying and everything like that because it's the truth, and then also when it's the truth and they don't like it. It is what it is. What can I say? Excuse me. And like the title says, the G code. And I know, and I get it that is all stupid and it's dumb. It's better to stay in school. Yes, those are facts. But that still doesn't change the fact that it is what it is, and this is what it is. So we're gonna touch on it. Now, the G code, one of the main ones, like keeping silent, staying quiet, boys. I hear a lot of criticism that it gets, from different people, everyday citizens, that it's stupid, it's dumb, that they don't understand, that why don't they just tell what happened and blah, 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 blah. Now, if it's so stupid and people don't understand, then why do law enforcement do it when their fellow officer commits a crime or does something they're not supposed to and they don't report it or they don't tell on their fellow officer? Why do they stay quiet? Including about these and you guys seen the scandals. They've been, tell me if I'm lying, if they haven't been breaking news where you even found out that they're sheriff gangs and they were doing all these mamadas, but their fellow sheriffs knew about it but they didn't say nothing. You get what I'm saying? Even in court, when they're going to court and everything, they still stay quiet. Now, they know that these guys were breaking the law. Why didn't they tell on their fellow officer if it's so stupid and they don't understand why gang members do it? Gang members were breaking the law and they didn't tell, and that's what people were saying. And the outrage, then how come they don't say nothing about when the cops were doing it? You know what I mean? Or when the priests were touching kids and their fellow priests knew and didn't say nothing. You know what I mean? Or when your brother or your loved one or a friend does something they're not supposed to do and you cover for them. So don't act like you don't understand why they do it. You know why they do it. It's just that gangs are bad and people just don't want to be able to relate to it or to be able to understand why they do what they do. You know what I mean? Because then it's justifying it. You don't want to justify it. Therefore, you choose to make all these ignorant arguments. I'm not saying that it's right, but don't go and act like you don't know why they do it and why it's being done and all that bullshit. You know why it's being done, and you know why they do it, because you guys have all done it at one point or another. Um, you know what I mean? Um, so like the staying quiet one, so people understand why they do it. It's more of a brotherhood. You know what I mean? It's the bond and the brotherhood that you have with your fellow homeboys. It's like a family. It's like a club. Like I understand. I know that people out there understand because they have best friends or they have loved ones that they hold dear to them. At least several, and that is how a hood works. You get what I mean? Shit. You know that there's been friends that have been there for you more than your family. I know you guys can relate. Because I know family can get scandalous. I've always said this: blood doesn't make you family. It does not. I hear that that's the saying: blood is thicker than water. No, it's not. I only call it how it is, homie. You guys are only speaking from the perspective if you're coming from a family if you come from a good family, if your family's perfect, boys. If there's no cracks, but not everyone is as lucky as you. Not everyone has a perfect family like you. You get what I mean? Some of us come from some scandalous shit. So blood does not make you family. Maybe that's how you see it, because that's how you and your family coexist. But more than half of the world does not coexist like that. You know what I mean? Loyalty makes you family, not blood. Um, those are the facts. There's your own family that could do you scandalous shit that some of you guys won't even be able to comprehend. Um, those are the facts. Um, you know what I mean? Like I said, most people like to speak without knowing. You know what I mean? Like I always say, get to know something before you want to speak on it. You get what I mean? It's so quick to judge, but judging without knowing is not a good trait. It never has been. It never will. You get what I mean? So it's like a family, right? Because loyalty makes you family. You get what I mean? But what people don't understand, and the reason I want to do this video is, there's been a few rappers that belong to dropout neighborhoods, like the northern dropouts or the 2 fivers or stuff like that, which is ridiculous in my book. The fact that there's 2 dropout neighborhoods already is ridiculous in itself, because you would figure that the dropouts, they should just be one unit of just people that have dropped out. But no, they even have sub cliques of that. So what happens when those 2 sub cliques of individuals start clashing? Because it's a game of egos. Whether you're gonna have beef, and now they're gonna put soldiers in the front line, and now they just become like this. And what happens when they don't want to listen to those rules? Now, what are they gonna drop out into? This is all ridiculous. The fact that they're not even able to see this should already tell you the ignorance of these individuals that are these from these dropout sets. You get what I mean? Because even that they dropped out and they're in these PC yards, they still haven't learned what got them in that PC yard to begin with. Their freaking big ass mouth and their stupid way of thinking. My bad. Because look, the brotherhood and the bond that you have, because they say no, the brotherhood backstabbed and they turn their back on them. Look, understand this. Don't forget the fundamentals of the streets that they teach you. 1, don't trust no one. 2, keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Because the bond is with your homeboys that you have right here in the block that you grew up with, that you guys are shedding blood for. Not for the individuals in there. You and them individuals are only part of an umbrella, but you guys have no, how can I say, you guys have nothing in common with each other. You guys from different times, different areas. And yes, you guys could get to have like a bond, but that bond doesn't, it will never go as deep as like the bond that you have right here, because you guys could relate to this area. Your uprising. You know what I mean? You could have a friend that you meet later on in like your 30s that could be a good friend, but the memories still won't overcloud the memories of the homie that you had when you were back then. That's just how the brain works. You have more of an attachment to then than to now. Why that is, I don't know. I'm still reading up on all that, on the psychology behind all of that. It's interesting stuff. But that's just the way it is. So that's why all these backstabbings happen and all of that or whatever. It's so easy. It's so easy for you to get rid of the shit that you bought now than the shit that you bought then. Because you hold some kind of a emotional attachment to it. That's the psychology behind it. You get what I mean? That's why there's all. So the best thing is to remember the fundamentals. Don't trust no one and keep your mouth shut. But if you're asking for attention, if you want attention, if you're begging for attention, then attention you're gonna get it. Meaning in all ways. Meaning when some shit goes wrong, guess what? You're gonna get that attention. That's why it's best to just stay quiet, trust no one, and just do your thing. Just program. But all these individuals want attention. Then shit goes sideways. Then they get that attention, and all of a sudden they don't want that attention, and they decide to fold, which is stupid. And then they still want to talk about the G code. That I stay true to the G code. They're the ones that broke it because they try to backstab me. No, because if you would have stick to the G code in the beginning, which means trust no one and keep your mouth shut, you wouldn't have ended up in this predicament that you did it to begin with. So no, you broke the G code in the beginning by fucking talking so much and throwing yourself out there. It's not to defend, the way it's structured, and it's not to bash on dropouts or nothing like that. You get what I mean? It basically it's just I hate when people try to justify what they did. You know what I mean? By still pointing fingers. But see, the thing is, and that's with either side, where they should be pointing the finger is in the mirror. But no, they still want to point the finger somewhere else. That's the ego of these individuals, the narcissism. The narcissistic tendencies of these individuals is baffling. You know what I mean? It is, homie. It's mind-boggling. How they act and they're not able to see it. You know what I mean? Hence why they created these fucking PC gangs. It's ridiculous. They still haven't learned. Instead of like being in the PC yard and just like just maintaining, just doing their time or whatever. No, here they go and stirring everything up again. They still haven't. I swear to God, these individuals are. Oh man. It's crazy. And for the ones that support it and like to hear that shit, that's it's crazy. It's even crazier, man, to even believe these individuals. Like their ego is, man, they're so full of it, it ain't even funny. But that's just what I wanted to talk about because I just thought that it's funny that they still want to talk about the G code when they broke every rule in the G code and they still want to stay, that they stick to the G code. That's funny. But that's just my opinion. And shadowy out.